the United States government looked its own citizens in the eye and told them the case was closed. One man, one gun, 3 shots. Case closed. That is the official story of November 22nd, 1963. And for over 60 years, millions of people have read that conclusion, looked at the evidence behind it, and said, that is not possible. Something else happened in Dallas. Something that the Warren Commission did not want found. Something that the CIA, the FBI, and 3 separate presidents worked very hard to keep buried inside classified vaults that were not fully opened until 2023. Here is what we are breaking down today. The single bullet theory that defies the laws of physics. The witnesses who told a completely different story and were never called to testify. The intelligence connections of Lee Harvey Oswald that the official investigation refused to follow. The declassified documents released in 2017 and 2023 that confirmed what researchers had been saying for decades. And the one question that nobody in power has ever been able to answer cleanly. Why did it take 60 years to release the files? Chapter 1. What happened in Dealey Plaza? At 12:30 in the afternoon on November 22nd, 1963, President John F. Kennedy's motorcade turned onto Elm Street in Dallas, Texas. The crowds were thick. The sun was out. Kennedy was riding in an open-top Lincoln Continental, seated beside his wife Jacqueline, with Texas Governor John Connally and his wife directly in front of them. Within seconds, shots rang out across Dealey Plaza. Kennedy was struck in the throat and then in the head. He was pronounced dead at Parkland Memorial Hospital at 1 p.m. Within 2 hours, Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson had been sworn in as President of the United States aboard Air Force One, with Jackie Kennedy standing beside him, still wearing her blood-stained pink suit. Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested that afternoon. He denied everything. He called himself a patsy. 48 hours later, before he could be brought to trial, before he could say another word publicly, he was shot dead in the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters by a nightclub owner named Jack Ruby. The man who could have answered every question was silenced before the questions were even asked. Chapter 2. The bullet that broke the official story, because what the Warren Commission asked the American public to believe about the mechanics of this assassination is one of the most aggressively disputed conclusions in the history of forensic science. The commission concluded that a single bullet fired from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository struck President Kennedy in the back of the neck, exited through his throat, then changed direction and struck Governor Connally in the back, traveled through his chest, shattered his wrist, and finally came to rest in his thigh. 1 bullet, 7 wounds. 2 men, multiple changes of direction, all while remaining in near pristine condition when it was recovered. This became known as the single bullet theory. Critics called it something else. They called it the magic bullet theory. Because for that bullet to have done what the Warren Commission claimed, it would have had to pause in midair, turn left, turn right, and defy the trajectory that basic physics demands of a projectile moving at that velocity through that mass of human tissue. Over 250 doctors, forensic analysts, and ballistics experts have publicly rejected this conclusion. Not fringe voices. Credentialed professionals who looked at the same evidence the commission looked at and reached a completely different verdict. Chapter 3. Oswald and the intelligence question. But the physical evidence is only half of the story that was buried. The other half is the man they blamed for pulling the trigger. Lee Harvey Oswald was presented to the public as a troubled loner. A communist sympathizer who had defected to the Soviet Union returned to the United States and acted entirely alone out of ideological obsession. What the Warren Commission did not fully examine, and what the declassified documents have since confirmed, is that Oswald had a far more complicated relationship with American intelligence than the official story ever acknowledged. Oswald had worked at a U-2 spy plane base in Japan during his military service, a posting that required security clearance far above what a low-ranking Marine would normally receive. He had traveled to the Soviet Union at the height of the Cold War and been welcomed back into the United States without a single serious investigation. He had contacted the Soviet embassy in Mexico City just weeks before the assassination, and multiple CIA documents released after 1992 confirmed that the agency had an active file on Oswald before November 22nd, a file they initially claimed did not exist. Chapter 4. The files they locked away for 60 years. In 1992, Congress passed the JFK Records Collection Act. Every document related to the assassination was supposed to be released to the public. It was a legal mandate. It was supposed to end the secrecy. Decades later, thousands of documents were still classified. Presidents across administrations extended the deadlines. Agencies argued that release would compromise national security. The CIA and FBI both lobbied against full disclosure. Documents that should have been public in the 1990s were still sitting in vaults in 2022. When the releases finally came in batches in 2017 and 2023, the documents confirmed several things that had previously been dismissed as speculation. The CIA had monitored Oswald extensively before the assassination. There were intelligence contacts in Dallas on November 22nd that were never fully explained. And there were internal communications within the agency in the days after the assassination that suggested a level of institutional anxiety far beyond what you would expect if the case were truly as simple as the Warren Commission claimed. Why does a government lock away the files on an open and shut case for 60 years? That question has never received a satisfactory answer. Chapter 5. The verdict. So what is the real story behind the JFK assassination? The honest answer is that we do not know everything. And that is precisely the point. We do not know everything because the people who controlled the investigation controlled what was examined, what was classified, and what was destroyed. Evidence was lost. Witnesses were ignored. A bullet was asked to do something physics says it cannot do. And a man was killed in a police station before he could speak. What we do know is this. The official story has more structural holes in it than any serious investigation should be allowed to have. The scientific community does not accept the single bullet theory. The Einhorn United States Congress concluded a conspiracy was probable. And 60 years of classified documents were protected with a level of institutional ferocity that has no innocent explanation. If this story made you question everything you were taught about November 22nd, 1963, then Hidden Histories Media was built for exactly you. Subscribe right now. Every week, we go deeper into the stories that official history chose not to tell. The buried evidence, the classified documents, and the inconvenient truths that powerful institutions spent decades trying to erase. Hit the notification bell. Share this video with someone who still believes the official story. And tell us in the comments, do you believe Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone? Or does the evidence point somewhere far darker? The debate starts right now.